Hello and thanks for staying with us. The Assistant Controller General of Customs in charge of Zone A speaks on customs matters around the zone. Also on customs report, Semi-Customs Command intercepts more jerrycan of petrol along the nation's border. Plus, more report. I am Igeseme Itinye. Stay tuned. The Assistant Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service in charge of Zone A has said that any importer or agent that refuses to present original documents to the Nigerian Customs Service will face the law. He urged members of the public to continue to promote cordial relationship with management alongside custom officers. He speaks more
with regards to our plans for this year. We know the motivation is very high. The environment is almost conducive for officers to operate. As last year, a lot of training programs were rolled out and officers were trained on how to improve our service delivery. Apart from that, we have greater communication and enforcement of discipline, which will go a very long way for our inputs in revenue generation. The motivations, they came in many forms. The welfare of officers is in the forefront, in the front banner, because accommodation has been our problem for a very long time, particularly here in Lagos. That's why right now we are on a kind of verification exercise of some of our quarters that had been occupied by many people who are like illegal occupants. We have retired officers, we have transferred officers. In fact, from the report I received, there were some quarters that are rented out by some officers who felt the quarters are theirs. And we have some projects, barracks projects that are ongoing, particularly I can mention Ogun Command. And then in addition to all this, we have the NICIST going on. KLT had already been taken care of, and training in that area is still ongoing here in the zonal office. And I believe with the motive behind having NICIST, the platform is engineered towards having transparency, accountability on both the officer side as well as importer agent. So definitely our baggage is big, and we are expecting more productivity this year. Well, interestingly, it is known fact that this zone made 75, if not 80% of almost Nigeria Customs Service work. I am saying this with all modesty because it is known that we have no less than 15 to 16 command under this zone. And our collection was almost 100%. Because if we are to put it in percentage, our collection was 851 billion, which almost represents 95.93 million. This is from all our collection points, that is custom duty, excise, parcel post, and other collections that are there. So for sure, we have contributed our own quota as a zone, and we hope to do more this year, especially with all the apparatus and measures put in place by the service. So it's like we are going to repeat or surpass what we did last year. The logistics is one major problem that had to be taken care of. Otherwise, with our vast border line, definitely enforcement work would be very, very difficult for us. And I know it's one issue that has been bothering the management. On several occasions, it was mentioned during meeting. And assurance we received from CGC in the last management meeting which I partook, there was this promise, a strong one, that maybe before the end of this month, or at most before the end of the first quarter, definitely the provision will be made. Because if you go to commands, that is always the cry. no vehicles, no vehicles. And more so, you know, this zone, it has a very long line of border, starting from Seme down to Idiroko. You go to areas in Oyo Command, you know, up to Kwara State. You will discover that we need a lot of vehicles to cover that terrain. And more especially in recent time, we have 3 items that we are fighting on. Vehicles, which the authority banned since last year, rice, which has been stopped from coming to the border. Then in recent time, petroleum product. People are smuggling petroleum product in large quantity. Though we have been making seizures, but the input, the impact is definitely not felt. In fact, this drew my attention to a kind of observation we made where within a distance of 50 kilometers to border, you have a serious or a sizable number of filling stations. The population around there is less. But yes, one wonders why should such a great number of what do you call it, of filling stations. I think it's an issue where the regulatory body concerning that should look at, because definitely it is negating our economic stand. At one point, I heard Controller General saying he wants 2 things achieved before he disengage or before he leaves the stage. One, he said that he wants to witness the increase in custom officer salary. Secondly, he said that he will want to be the one to move from this our headquarters to our corporate headquarters, which is the project is ongoing. So it didn't come to us as a surprise. And more so, I think that adage which says to whom much is given, much is expected. It's supposed to be reciprocal. And definitely, if the authority gives us more will be done. And authority will definitely benefit from that. Definitely, there is need for sensitization of people. Let them realize that this smuggling will take us to nowhere. And those smugglers are being encouraged from outside to smuggle out our own legitimate item meant for our own use. You imagine that your children are hungry, or your people, your locality are hungry, yet you feel there is nothing wrong, you take away food from them and take it to an outsider. Is there any sense in that? Their action is similar to this, but we stay put. We are on course. We are going to fight them. We have been fighting them, and we will continue to fight them. Because the truth of the matter is that we cannot afford to allow them to have field day. We will never allow them. We will fight it to last.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Seme Border Area Controller has again intercepted jerrycan of petrol along the Nations Creek. He also intercepted 2 trucks loaded with petrol. The intercepted jerrycans of petrol were later auctioned to members of the public residing at the border. Some of the buyers thanked the customs for a job well done.
You see, last 3 weeks, or I say 2 weeks ago, where we made the arrest of 2,000 plus. So we decided to strategize our operation by monitoring all the trucks coming towards the border. To stop before the bridge, we check their documents. The genuine ones, we give 1 officer to go and offload and make sure they sell before we release another one. So we discovered these 2 are going to the same place we arrested those jerrycans. If you can see the name and address, European Global Limited, that is the name of the filling station close to the creek, where they used to upload and put in the jerrycan and cross it. Along Yekinmi Pashi Road, that is after Ode, you enter into the bush. That's exactly where it is. So these 2 are diversion to the place where they're going to do the bunkering to cross it to the other neighboring country. That's why we detain it now. When we call Abuja, whatever instruction they give us, then we seize it and they will direct us what to do with it. Because we cannot sell it here. is too big. It's too much for this community. How many are they? There are very few. Another thing I want you to tell the public is that some have the impression that trucks are passing through the border. It's not true. I assure you, the truck you see maybe passing through the border are the trucks under ETLs who carry cotton seed oil. They have a company in Lagos. They carry it from Benin to their company in Lagos. So when they are going back empty. So some people assume that they are carrying fuel. They are not carrying anything. Therefore, yesterday we arrested one. To our surprise, when we opened, we discovered it was empty. When we look at the number, we see it was Benin number. So the impression that trucks of petrol are crossing through the border, not semi-border, tell anybody. And whoever tries it, he will see, look at this example. These people are trying to beat us, and we show them that we are more smarter than them. That's how we got this through. We don't stop any fuel from coming to the border, the bigger one. If you go to the corn oil now, they are selling. But we monitor them. We now give them one truck. If they sell, we confirm that it's finished, then we release another one. As of now, they have about 2 or 3 trucks we pack before the bridge. Immediately they finish selling, we release another one. And not only selling, around 6 o'clock, we go and measure, take the measurement of the remaining ones. So that in the morning before we start selling, we make sure that what we left is what we made so that you continue selling. If you try to siphon it in the jerrycan, we arrest you. We even make an undertaking. Each one of them wrote an undertaking that we promise you we are going to sell to the public. So that is the condition we are in now. We have a serious control measure now. I'm telling you, as of last week, a lot of those that know that for the diversion, they have returned back to Lagos. So that's what we are doing.
So what are you telling the petrol owners who have approval by the border side?
It's not the approval issue. The issue here is that the government should do something about it to regularize at least the number of filling stations in the border side. We have a filling station which is just 50 meters away from the border. Then I think my advice is regulation. If the federal government can build like 2 mega stations, one for semi-exit, the other one for Badagry, for Owode side. How many of them? All of them are not up to 10,000 people. Then imagine the allocation. The truck they are allocating to them is more than the number of the community living there. Some of them don't even have cars. They have motorcycle. A gallon of petrol for motorcycle can last for 1 week. So the federal government should come in here, come and see the number of filling stations, regularize, at least make it, minimize it, and let them not be too close to the border. Because you can't expect the customer arresting rice and smuggling, doing this, and then you go back and do a DPR work again. Because I don't have enough officers that are present to each police station to start monitoring this polling station. Now this control measure we have done, we block a lot of them. Whoever has intention of doing bad things, will stop at it. He decides to go back. A lot of them has gone back. A lot of them have decided to sell on the roadside because there's no way for them at this time. You are from Ankara?
Yeah.
And you bought
5
jerrycan on the half of the Ankara?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And you know how much each one costs in the market?
It's almost more than 4,000.
Then now I'm selling it to you
1,000.
How do you feel?
I feel I'm happy with it. It will be useful for me.
How do you rate custom?
Our custom, right from there now, we know Mohammed is working.
It's a welcome development. At least it will cushion the effect of, since here we don't have electricity, we will depend on generator. Okay. I know how much we use to buy fuel every day.
I felt very, very glad, and kudos to you and your men.
So with this now, you are, when you see these people, you are ready to expose and give us the intelligent report so that we
yes,
get
sir.
more
I will do that. I will do that. I will do that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
How do you rate custom on this outing?
It's a welcome development, sir.
Thank you very much. How do you feel?
Extremely happy.
How do you rate custom?
In short, custom, I want to commend their effort.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Something of approximately 4,000 naira. I'm selling it to you 1,000 naira. How do you feel?
Very happy.
Very happy.
The Federal Operation in Zone A has again intercepted vehicle worth over 1.6 billion naira. The controller said that the intercepted cars were picked up because no correct papers were presented as at the time of seizure. It speaks more on the seizure, which also includes other items as intercepted.
These vehicles are very expensive. If you look at the duty paid value and the value of the vehicle, now how can an individual will go and buy this type of vehicle and you will not pay government money? How much is the government money? like I told you, they are just for profit-making individuals. They are not after the development of the society. They are only after themselves. So for that reason, we have to continue to implement the federal government policy. Importation of vehicles through the land border has been banned, and we will continue to impose that border. Vehicles can only come through the ports, and due process must be followed. Appropriate government money must be collected. Even in the port, if you declare falsely, your vehicles, your container will land here. Like I told you, if you have a Toyota Corolla, you decide to go and put a Toyota Camry, it will soon end here, because that has driven the government of accurate statistics of how many Toyota Corollas are being imported in Nigeria. You see, the government is not issue about the money itself, it is about procedure. Even if you pay money to the government and you have not followed the due process, what the government has spelled out, those such goods will be detained. The total vehicle I told you we have 31 of various brands. By the time we give you the first release, you will be able to see how many they are at their duty-paid values. Oh, from January 1 to 31st of January, we have been able to make seizure was 1.6 billion, comprising vehicles, rice, second-hand clothing, used tires, compressors, and the other general merchandise goods that have been either falsely declared or they are outright prohibition. And in line with federal government policy, goods that are not allowed to come in or federal government money has not been collected, the goods will end here until such federal government money has been collected, and if the goods are prohibited, after due process, they will be forfeited to the federal government. Well, you see, the major contravention, like I told you, the two containers you saw, the goods were falsely declared. Like I told you, the other one, the declared STEM items. And what we found, 60 new freezers and 570 hose for gas usage. So anything that is falsely declared is seized. Rice has been banned. The importation of rice through the land border has been banned by the federal government. And this rice was smuggled. I told you the total number of rice, 8,400 bags of 50 kg rice, equivalent to 14 trailers of rice. Federal government has banned the importation of rice through the land border. For that reason, that's why this rice has been seized. Second-hand clothing has also been banned for health reasons. This is a contravention. We got them and we have seized them. Used tires, equally banned. We have also seized them. So anything generally, all this we have shown you that we have detained them here or seized, they have some infractions, they have contravention. Like this vehicle you have seen, duty has not been paid to the best of our knowledge. We have given them a grace period of time to produce relevant custom documents. As long as nobody produces anything, this vehicle, after due process, will be forfeited to the federal government.
The former controller of customs in charge of Tinkan Customs Command said that the award given to him by World Customs Organization WCO is a welcome development. He thanks the management of the Nigerian Customs Service for allowing him to serve at Tinkan Island Customs Command. He speaks more on the award as bestowed on him by WCO.
Glory be to God. The award has really done so much for us. I went to Tinkan when really the morale, everything was down. And by the grace of God, we raised a team because I'm a team player. And ultimately it pays. This is so much. The bar is now really high for Tinkan officers to ensure that Tinkan has maintained its position. This is the first time in the history of that command since its creation in the 70s, except today, that Tinkan has gotten an international recognition for best practices, for transparent integrity, for team spirit, for whatever good in customs operations. For a command to receive World Customs Organization recognition, it's so much, so huge. I'm humbled. Looking at Nigeria, customs is just not for revenue collection or suppressing anti-smuggling. One of the major roles we also play is ensuring the nation's security. The moment we start profiling, that's why I say I dedicate this award to the team spirit, because we set up a profiling team, and at every turn we were able to discover something, to the point that this year alone we were able to intercept 2010 pump action in 3 containers, apart from some other individual seizures of pistols, 900 cartridges, 800 pieces of live bullets, all other things. But if you look at the theme of the World Customs Organization, which is sustainability of secure border business environment for economic development, it gives a lot. So we were duly and correctly given this award by the World Customs Organization. The world has given us a position that we must maintain. Both officers, our business community, including the cleaners, and everyone who steps into Tinkan, contributed in us changing the history of Tinkan.
The Customs Area Controller in charge of PTLM Port has said that the customs will continue to generate more revenue for the country. She said that last year, the command made a total of 9 billion naira on behalf of the customs management. So they said that this year, the command will further increase on its revenue base and as well introduce more technique in the clearance of consignments at the port. She speaks more on a number of issues.
For 2017, PTML Area Command collected the sum of 98,825,815,515 naira into the coffers of the federal government of Nigeria. We had a meeting. We involved the stakeholders, critical stakeholders, and we also had a paper delivered by the Chief Security Officer of PTML Command. The theme for this year was a secure business environment for economic development. We had papers delivered on security, and we talked about business development. Business can only develop in a secure environment. Where there are threats to life and property, there can be no meaningful development. We talked about the issues of integrity. We talked about facilitating legal trade. We also talked about movements of goods across the borders. And we also talked about particularly the safety of officers in PTML. But in PTML, I must tell you, PTML is one of the few ports in Nigeria today that you cannot access if you don't have access cards. So you have to be a licensed agent with your Form C30 before you can have access to the terminals in PTML. So on the issue of security of the officers on ground, I must tell you, PTML is one of the few ports that has control over people that come into the ports. So we've been training. We've trained our releasing officers, our examination officers. We've trained the agents, and we're retraining. If you don't understand, the facilitators are giving them another 1 week of grace to come back for retraining, which is ongoing as I'm talking to you. And the message is being taken down to all of them because NICES is rolling out in PTML shortly. there's no hide and seek anymore. With NISIS, they don't have a choice, so they have to follow the rules, and the message has been taken. That's why we are training and retraining them, and they've been forthcoming. The attendance on the parts of the agents has been encouraged. It was slow at first, but it's picking up. So I'm sure the message has been well delivered.
Just before I round up this week edition of the program, Custom Support, we brought you a report where seizures of jerry cans of petrol were intercepted along the creek at Seme border. For me, Igisemi Etie, thanks for watching.